Well, hello everybody. Let's go ahead and get started on our Module 4 work. And then we're going to come back and we're going to actually do an all-in-one form. So we're going to work on 4-2 today after we do a quick brief run through the PowerPoints. We'll get that all-in-one form for user input. And most likely you've probably already know about the query string and how to get input using forms from the user. So it'd be a good, nice little review, but implementing it using PHP. So let's get our PowerPoints going, and then we'll go play. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in PowerPoint, but there are some issues or things that we need to discuss, such as some of the common tools for encoding data in the query string. Because you're going to use the query string to send data to a web page through the URL. It's old school stuff, but it still works. And we've been using it, so it's probably still going to be working and using. JavaScript does the same thing. So that's going to be our objective today, is to create that all-in-one form. But these things are are really important, and they're going to be what you actually use to get the information. So when you work with the query string, you're going to be using the get and post global values, and that's where you send and receive the data through the query string. The session is very important because that's how you deal with your security. When you start a session and allow somebody to authenticate on a web, authenticate through like on your database, then that session ID, you know that user's already been authenticated, and that's one of the main mechanisms of your security. For building, like, shopping carts and stuff like that. And as you all know, when you go to your bank website and look at your balance and you wait too long, your session goes away and you can no longer access it, and you have to re-authenticate. And that's the main reason for the session. So the get and post are the main ones that you'll be using. And then the session. Okay, so the auto globals you will be using quite often, but what we're going to be doing is working with web forms today, and the action attribute is what actually sends it to. So essentially, when you are using this, if we want to send data to a file, to a script. We would set up an action attribute and send the form data to this script. So then this script will look at the query string and the URL and then get that information and process it. So the action basically, it dictates what web page is going to handle the data once entered by the user. So that's one of the more important aspects of this. Okay, so the get method and the post method is used for getting and retrieving information from the query string. Okay. Is there anything else we need to do? Talk about processing form data. You guys pretty much know that how to design GUIs to reduce user input error. So we don't need to look at that. But we do need to start playing with the post and get. Here is an example of using the post to get the first name. So when you use the query string, you're working with key value pairs. And one thing about that query string that causes an issue when you're sending data to another a web page is character formatting. And let me give you kind of an example why. A lot of people would type in the URL up here. Well, let's just get this a little bigger. But it would be something like www.mysite. And then you would have, let's see, a query string that looks like this. And my data, and you would have key value pairs. But here's the thing: is it's that question marks that separates that query string. That's where the data. That's where the data is coming in through the URL. And what if that data includes a space? So essentially, you're sending data to another web form, but you need to tell it that it's all one chunk, and the compiler is going to interpret these as separate things. So essentially, you need to encode and change those spaces to something like a %20, and then that's the data that would actually be in the query string. So that %20. I don't know if it's 20, it might be 80, represents the space. And that's what happens when you are using what your form data is. You got to actually encode them. You got to encode that data so that you can handle for spaces and special data going through the query string. And that's what all of this next part of the PowerPoint is about. So handling special characters, basically you're going to be able to essentially encode your data to be able to be used in the URL as a query string. So you got things such as add slashes, strip slashes that are available to you too. And then you would use these magic quotes to work with your query strings. Okay, let's continue on. And there are some functions that we will be using, like isSet is numeric for data validation. But here's our first example of, or what I wanted to get to was all-in-one form. This is what you'll be doing most of, and we're going to actually build our own. We're going to first look at the all-in-one form submit. So essentially when we're building an all-in-one form, what we're doing is we're building a page that both sends the data from the user and receives the data. So its action script is going to be itself. And then you got to determine on, hey, did users already enter data on this page? Or are they going to enter data on this page? And that's where the isSet comes in, because the global variable submit means, hey, the user entered data in the form and hit the action button. And that means that the submit global value in the query string is set to a value because there's something there. But if there's nothing from the submit global, then that means that nobody has submitted data by pushing on the action button for the page. And that means that we can just show the form and have it ready to be filled out by the user. Because the else here would be where we actually show the data to the user. So basically, if the user has already submitted data, validate the data. And then we get into the isSet, which is also used for the global post submit to look at, hey, is there data? If there is, process it. So those are the data you get from query strings come in what we call key value pairs. And you have a key and then the value. So we are going to begin playing with that very shortly. I think that we... This is awesome, good stuff, but I think we're good enough to go ahead and start getting into it and playing. Okay, so let's get into our book and let's look at our first... Oh, well, let's start a project first. And then what we'll do is... we'll begin with... a project in NetBeans. Are we in module 4? Yeah, that's module 4. Okay. So I named it right. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get our NetBeans project up. So I got a folder in my desktop ready to go for my new project, which is going to be a PHP project. And we're going to set the sources folder for the folder that we just created. Which evidently I can't find, but I found it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the copy source. Let's make a new folder here. I mean, you know what? Let's just reuse one. No, it won't let me make a new folder here. Let's go ahead and make a folder in the www directory for this project to copy over to. www is the directory of our web server in WAMP 64. And here I'm going to make a new folder and I'm going to say module 4. Okay, so that's the one that we're going to go to in our www directory. Module 4. I'm going to say open and then next and finish. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go file, a new file, and I'm going to get a PHP file, and I'm going to call this one index, so it automatically pops up in our folder when we run this. Okay, and then I'm going to cheat again and get a new HTML document that I'm just going to use the code for. I'm not going to do much of anything else with it. I'm just going to copy paste. Okay, cool. Okay. And of course you would build functions to print all these out instead of doing this silly thing with static. Okay, so I think this will get us set up so that we can... okay, I'm in my index.php. Okay, let me zoom in for you. And I'm going to go ahead and put my script start inside of the body, and then I'm going to go ahead and close it. Always remember to close it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is follow the instructions for building our all-in-one form, and we're going to go ahead and go back to our book here, right here. Okay, so we are doing 4.2 together. If I can find it. Maybe I went a little too far. Well, maybe 4.2's got lots of steps. Okay. No, I think that might be 4.1. Yeah. 4.1. 4.2. Okay. So we're going to create that all-in-one form. A contact me page with a mail to. And then we're going to play with it by maybe adding some data to send, adding another form thing and just printing it out or something like that. So we'll do an extension. But this is pretty much most of the common type of web pages that you will be building is all-in-one forms in a lot of ways. So we're going to go ahead and just follow the instructions. It looks like we have everything ready to go so far for steps 1 and 2. Now we've got to add a function called validate. Okay, and it looks like what we're going to validate is going to be called, they've got an actual name for it. Data. Data is going to be the string. Now this is just a function that validates, and we're going to use it multiple times for different values, and what it's doing is it's just looking for simply beginning spaces, trailing spaces, anything that invalidates the data and what it's supposed to be. Okay, so we're going to throw that in our code because we're going to use that error handler. Okay, and then we got to make it nice and pretty. Sort of. Okay, maybe Notepad will work first. Okay. I think I can handle that one. Okay, we're going to make it so it... Well, you know what? We don't really have to do much with it because... Well, this is what's driving me nuts. They've really condensed this. Okay, so this is the validate function, and we don't really have to look at it. It just looks at, slashes, stripping slashes, any characters that aren't allowed that we're not allowing. It looks like it does a, it does a search for the input for any characters that we do not allow, and it uses a regular expression for that. So this function is good. We shouldn't have to do anything with it. I think I've got a syntax issue here though, because that does not match up with what I thought I copied. Yeah, that doesn't close. It just opens, so there's a problem there. Okay. Ah, looks like we just probably missing one. There we go. Okay. All right. That we can test and use later. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it, so let's move on. We got a validate function that checks our input and makes sure that it's decent input. Oh, that's what it does. It looks for if it's a valid email. That's what the validate does. Because we're checking for an email in this project. Okay. All right. So that function is done. Let's go ahead and get into the next part, which is going to be the validate input. And it looks like we've got to do a validate email. So let's grab this one too, I guess. Thought that other one was actually doing that. Maybe. Oh yeah, it probably does a certain part of it. It just checks for some specifics, but not others. Okay. So we're going to take this code in here. Let's get the first part of it. Okay. And then we'll get the next part of it. You guys might have to be typing it in. That becomes a bit of an issue, especially when you're debugging. Okay. Okay, it looks like we've got some kind of lift off here. We may have to come back and debug some of this and look for errors, because some of this just looks really funky. It's like these else statements, you know, it's just like, yeah. Okay, so that is, they both close right here, I imagine, for that function. Yeah, we just missed these last three. So the last two, we got to return that value. So we got to put in 2 closing, and then the return, and then 1 closing, and then we should have everything matched up. So let's do this. Oh, there's the 2 closing over there. Okay, that goes with the if statement. Okay, and this goes with the else. And you gotta be careful, because sometimes they add those to you and you don't know. They're just ruthless, ridiculousness. And then you also have okay, we're gonna come back to this. Actually, let's just do a comparison. You know what? I'm gonna hit pause and I'm gonna get this all fixed up, and then we'll continue. Okay, I got it cleaned up and ready to go here. So we're going to head on to the next page. We've got our validate email function in. Okay, so we'll go to the next page here. And we got the display form. Okay, so this is going to be the function that runs when we detect that the all-in-one form has not received data. So this will be where we set up so that users can enter data. So let's copy this function. I don't know why they put the end PHP or the beginning PHP function here. Oh yeah, okay, so that's just part of the code down below that we need to put in. Okay, so I'm going to grab this stuff and we're going to put it in. And we have the display form, so I'm going to make that pretty, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I got this display form set up, and as we can see here that we have an action that's called contactForm.php. So we're going to actually have to rename this form, because this form is going to be our all-in-one. So this action, that's going to actually change into the name of our form, which is index.php. And we have several key value pairs that we're going to keep track of. We're going to have a form input for a name and basically text input. And then we're going to have an email input, and then we're going to have a subject input. So the key value pair here is the key would be the email and the subject and the sender. Okay. So we got a function to deal with that. Now you notice right here, why is this guy here? And the reason why that's there is to turn off or make sure you stop any scripts that have started and not stopped, and just make sure everything's shut down for scripting. And then we start a script, shut it down. Start, shut down, start, shut down, start, shut down. Got a problem here. I think I got an input problem here, but we'll look at that shortly. Start, shut down. And we'll go ahead and then instructions and see if there's anything that we're missing for the display form. It looks like we are good. except for this. They want us to go, okay, so the all-in-one form. You start the script, and then right here, and you end it here, because you're using the same form. So this end stops this start. And anything we call after display form, the scripting is going. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's see, we got, we need to add this part of it. We are going to create some variables that we're going to use for our program. And I'm going to, you know, I'm going to put it up in the top of our main script. These are variables that we're going to use, like the variable show form. That's going to dictate whether we are showing the data that the users entered, or we're showing the form so that users can enter data. So remember, this form is doing both jobs, handling the data that's entered by the user and getting the data that's entered by the user. So now we have our variables that we're going to use. Now it's time to start using them. So when this page loads up, this all-in-one page, the first thing we got to do is we got to check, hey, is this page already been run with data? Did this page get run, and did we get data? And I'm going to put this function all the way down at the bottom because it's using the other functions. And we might as well close our thingamajig here while we're at it. Even though we have an open one here, I'd probably just take that out. I don't like that. Okay, so oh, I copied the wrong thing. We want this. This is the beginning of it, and I don't think that this is. Okay, yeah. So this isn't going to be in a function. It's just going to be the code that actually runs. So let's grab it. Hopefully, I can. Okay. Okay, now we can start testing, because what we've done is we've built, we've got a form built to put in data. We get the data, and what am I doing? I'm probably hitting the wrong button every time. This stupid thing. Okay, so this is what actually does the business. This is what runs everything that we put in. And I don't know why it's doing this stupid thing. Okay, there we go. And I think this is script. I just don't like that. I'm going to get rid of it. No, let's just keep the book with what the book has. I'm no better than that. Let's just do another one down here. And then and this will be our starting script. When instead of defining just functions, it'll be our starting script. So oh, it doesn't allow us to do that anyways. So because we started the script there. Okay. Fine. Be that way. Okay. It looks like we have the ability to probably run this, and we're going to be able to first, when the program comes up, it's got to look at whether or not the data has been set, and that's what this isSet function does. Okay, so let's go on in the book and continue with our example. We got a few more things to copy here to the last copy. And this is going to go, let's just say right here. Okay. Okay, so this is looking at the error count after the validate inputs have been done. And that means that the input by the user is not good enough. It has inappropriate characters or whatnot, and we have an error in one of the outputs. And if we have an error, then that means that we should show the form and get more. Or it looks like error count 0. They're showing the form, but it's going to be our mechanism that we use to decide or make decisions on how we should treat the user input from then on forward. Okay, so this one right here is the next bit that we got to grab, and it's going to go in the same area. Okay. Okay, so if the form is true, that means that there's no data, and we've got to show the form to the user to print the form so that they can enter their data, and that's where we get into the actual mechanisms now. Okay. Now this is going to be code that we're going to be testing here shortly. Okay, so it looks like I need to clean this up a bit. Okay, I think we're getting there. All right, there's probably something more wrong with this code than I expected. Probably in that else statement. Looks like we're having problems in that else statement. No. The only part that I'm having a problem with is that. Oh. So yeah, that did get messed up. It's probably something I can't copy. Okay, let me get it all done here for this step, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, I think I got the last bit. So the program starts up here after the functions. It starts. This is the starting part of your script. What it does is it first looks to see if there's any data that's been sent. If there's no data that's been set, then it looks at the error count from the validates functions, and all these validate functions keep track of a global called error count, and that it's a R global. It's not like a huge global. It's just a global for this particular script. So that error count will increase when we validate all the input and we have issues. So Looks like we got a problem right here that would have bit us. Looks like a few things. Yeah, that's going to be one of your main issues, is just getting the stuff from the book and getting it to work without making a mistake. And that's part of what we're doing today, of course, and it's one of those things that you'll just kind of get good at as you continue. So we've got this ready to go. We start out by saying, hey, is there data? No. Show form or not? Yes. If we were going to show the form, then do these steps. Okay, and then we're going to go into, once you get this page building, you're probably going to use it over and over and over again. But it looks like we got everything ready to go to test it out for 4.2. Okay. Let's do a play and then we'll do let's do a save all. No, I might have set up my my folder wrong. Yeah, I probably set up my folders wrong. One nice thing you can do is you can just right click on it and say run. Yeah, over in this window over here, you can just right click on the file and then just say run. And you don't have to hit the play button. It'll run. And it looks like my project, see, it's going in as PHP project 1 index.php. So that means that my project settings are messed up from when I did that. Okay, so we should have this as module 4, not PHP project 1. So I'm going to say okay. And let's say run this file. Okay. Oh, geez, it just really wants PHP project, doesn't it? Gee whiz. PHP project 1 from when I created it? That's so stupid. Okay. I give up. Let's test this out, and then what I'm going to do is just go in and then put it in. So it looks like it's looking for PHP project 1 index. Okay. Where is it actually going to? Module 4. There's PH, and there's it index. Oh, the hell with it. It looks like this is my testing place. Okay, I'm gonna track down this error, and then we can test the script. It's just a silly project issue. So I'll be right back. Yeah, I think I created the folder wrong in NetBeans. So I'm going to go ahead and just create another one, and then what we'll do is we'll use that for testing. We'll just take the code over, and so I'm going to go ahead and go to new project, and this time I'm going to run it a little bit differently so that everything links up the way it should. I mean, of course you can do this, by hand, and you don't have to have it all linked up nice the way I like to do things. So I'm going to go ahead and put a folder on the desktop. I'm going to call it CSIT Module 4 V2. V2. Okay, so we're going to browse that, and I think the step I messed up on is coming up. So let's go ahead and let's do CSIT module for v2. And this is where I messed up. We just want to choose the www directory. It's going to make the folder for us. Yep, it does. That's where I messed up. Okay. I'll have to remember that. Alright, so let's take our code, our full file, and let's we can just take the code and cut it out and put it in a new document for our other project. So we're going to say new PHP file, index. Then we're going to put all that code that we just built. Okay, so now I think we should be able to test, now that I actually have fixed my linkages. And we should be able to hit the play button. Okay, so obviously we're having some problems here. To do write content, it doesn't look like anything is actually happening. So it's debug time, and I'm going to look into it. A lot of the different methods for debugging are to set a breakpoint or just simply do a print hello world. One of the main things to do for debugging is do the hack and slash. So if you know that there's code that could be a problem, then literally get rid of all the code. So there's something not running here, and we need to look into it. So let's not allow this code to run. And then what we'll do is we'll just see if this works, and we'll do just a quick print. And that will be our initial debug helper instead of setting a breakpoint. Okay, so we're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so let's start doing this then. So we just basically need to look at and make sure that all our functions are doing well. So it looks like maybe I'll skip ahead. It looks like our functions are going good, and maybe it's the problem right here. Huh. Let's see if we're getting here. Start the PHP block. Ah, this ends it. This ends a PHP block that was started so that you can mix HTML with PHP. Okay, so then, oh, it looks like we do have an error here, which could be the problem. So let's see if we're getting here first. Okay, so it looks like we finally are getting an error. If is set submit. Oh, it's this print hello. So it looks like, oh, and then our we got to close the comments. So we checked all the functions. Do I got hello? Yes, I got hello. So then why isn't this going on? Because if show form is true or false, we should be setting up our form. we should be running display form. So we're missing something. I'm going to go ahead and go back, and then we'll continue. Pause for a second. Okay, well, I'm sure some of you guys would have made this error, but it looks like I goofed up. This if statement should be standalone, and then this if statement goes in. So we got to actually close this guy right here. That's where I messed up. And then what that does is that allows us to show the form now, because duh, we didn't close the if statement. So nothing was happening for the form showing. So it looks like we've got some other issues with closing marks. And let's see, I think that I may have to go in and clean up some more issues with some of these things that have been auto added on by accident while I was pasting and typing things in. I hate auto add. It drives me insane. It just happened to me just now. Okay, so we got this else, and this else needs to have a close. This guy needs a close, and I think that is, if we go into the example code towards the end, it looks like yeah, we just closed the else and then the if in there, and it's standalone. So we just need to close these two guys. We need to close this else, then we close the if, and the if should be going with this guy right here. So we've got a close that we don't need. This one. That's the one that we don't need. Oh, let's look at that again. If show form equals true, then we echo data. Look at error count. Then we echo data, display the form. That closes this if statement right here. So that actually closes right here. Okay. Then we have our else, and our else is going to handle for this is the main mechanism that makes everything go, essentially. Because right here is, hey, did they already fill out data? Did they already fill out data? No, that means we need to show the form. If we need to show the form, then display the form and send it the data that we want. So this is kind of a cool way of building an all-in-one. And I would suggest that you take this, and this is, once you get it working, you're going to use it as a template from here on out for all-in-one forms. And so that's really important that you get this one working and implemented. And so even though we're over an hour on this video, I'm going to keep going with it, and we'll finish it up. Okay, so the next thing is we have that if statement, we have the else. Let's get rid of this guy. All right. And now we should have something somewhat different. Oh, wow, we got something. We got a form. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so then we're going to use the query string. Okay. Oh, epic fail all over the place. Look at that. Your name is not a valid email address. It doesn't. None of my validations worked well. They all died. They all died. Okay, well, it looks like we've got some code to fix. So it looks like the display form, I think, is working well. It's the validate functions that are being turds. So these guys just don't want to play nice. So let's go up here and let's check the first one. I think was validate input data. let's do this. I would love to set a breakpoint for this. But let's look at exactly what's going on here. I don't have XEdebug installed yet, so debugging is going to be an issue. Okay, so the first one was line 33. Line 33. Okay, well that makes sense. It's kind of messed up. Yeah, that would be a problem. Look at that. It's all messed up. Okay. So some more copy paste issues to get this working, and that's mainly what most of what you guys have is just getting it working, and then understanding the mechanisms and then using them as we travel further. I think we got that one. I think that one's fixed. I think we've got at least a start. That's why I love these all-in-one forms. So that's just the way to do things. You don't, unless you need it to work another way. But okay, so let's see. Wow. Okay, so that was the only error I had. Okay, we got it. This is your all-in-one form. Now it sends it through the query. Oh no, it doesn't. I don't think it uses the query string. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just uses the form. Anyways. You guys now have the capability of using an all-in-one form for accepting data and then processing that data, and that was the main. That's the main goal for this chapter. And you guys make sure you watch out for those errors from the book, and you saw me how I stepped through some of it using the print command. And so forth. You can actually attach the XEdebugger to this, and you can also attach the XEdebugger to like Visual Studio Code to get in and start debugging these a little bit better with breakpoint checks. Sometimes you just have to use some print statements and kind of go through it and divide and conquer. So remember, the magic all starts here. And this does all the control of everything for your all-in-one form. All right, guys. Thank you.